See if it's streaming. I'm going to continue to do the poker tool that I started yesterday. And I used ChatGPT to create the code, and it looks like it's working. I haven't looked too much into it yet, but I saved in this file here. It looks like it gets all the information, and it was mostly ChatGPT that wrote it, so yeah. I think might start with the Italian thing. I'm gonna put 1 hour here, maybe I stay for 1 hour and a half. But the thing that I don't like about this is that this key here is like this, and ideally it would be just the number, I think. And the other thing that I don't like is that the actions don't have numbers themselves. So it's hard to know what's a raise and what is a bet. And a check, I think, is always gonna be 0, so... But a call as well, it might be, because I only have the sum here, and I think that the way that they do it is by differentiating with this type. But since I don't know what the type is for each thing, then I don't know like what each thing is. So I need to get the sequence of bets to know. So I think inside of these actions here, or these rounds, actions, and then inside of the round, then it's probably better to... And it is also very confusing because there's a lot of nested data structures here, nested dictionaries and lists. So it's going to be complicated, but this is what I was thinking about doing. So I think that's good enough. And then I'll think about a way to unpack this on when I do the other stuff. And I think that obviously it's not going to be efficient here the way that I'm doing, because I have to do the computation twice. I have to organize this, and then I have to another time get this data and then do whatever I want to do. But obviously in the future, if I complete everything, then what I can do is just put everything on the same file, or I create different functions in different files that to encapsulate the code, and then I can just run the code all at once, and it becomes more efficient. But for building, I think, is a lot easier and a lot better this way, because then I don't have to think about the beginning of the code all the time. I can just get this data, and then from this data I can build the things that I want to build. And also I'm going to have to figure out how to allow PyCharm to connect, because it's not giving me the permission, even when I open the PyCharm with the administrator privileges, it doesn't let me open the solver, I think, which I was trying to test. And this is code that I got from Pio a long time ago, and it's pretty much an example, or examples of ways you can put commands on Pio. And then they have this I think it's universal poker interface that they call it. Instead of API, they call it universal poker interface, but it's pretty much, it works in the same way. It's kind of like the commands you can do with Python, and then you just open Python with the subprocessor from, I think, this file. No, I closed the file, but there is another one. I think it's this one, solver connection, with the class to connect to the solver, and then you use this. And this, I'm not getting enough permissions to open the thing. But I think that this is the next step after I figure out how to clean up this data here, or how to put this in a different way and put the sequence of actions. Then I'm going to think about, first I need to clarify what exactly I'm getting here. I'm getting an array of hands, and then each hand I have to clarify what do I get. And then after this, then I think about, I'm gonna work on connecting to Pio solver and trying to run some commands, and then try to understand how the data, how it is expected. I think yesterday I already saw roughly, that the ranges, the way they build the ranges is pretty much using a dictionary, and then they just use the letters of the cards, and then if you put the knives, then if you put the suits, then it becomes more bigger, because then, if you don't put the suits, then it's just a card. If you put the suits, then it has the cards and the suits on the dictionary, and it's the dictionary with the string as the key representing the card, and then the value is going to be the frequency. So that's very easy to do, I think. So all I can do is create. I also used ChatGPT yesterday to do something roughly like this. I don't remember if I copied, but I probably have on the history of other conversations there, which is just using itertools to create all combinations based on the suits and the deck. And then I can use that and create a dictionary and initialize everything to 0. And then I can just update based on the data. It's not hard, I think. So, and then I can use these commands here. I think it's going to be easier than I thought it would be. But it might be, the part that I don't know, like how it's going to work, is the node locking thing. And I know that if I use Pio, there's an option that you can do where you can initialize and check, and it's going to show each command that you do. So I think that's going to be the hardest part. And I have to research that again, because I don't remember how it works. But I know that there's a way to open Pio, and it's going to open the command line as well. And then for each thing you do, it's going to show what command is triggering in Pio. So I can do that and then get all the commands that I think are going to be necessary. But then it's going to be hard because I'm going to have to debug probably several different times. I'll check this out later. I'm going to put some music and then I'm going to focus on this stuff here. So the way that I was thinking about doing, I think I'm going to delete this one. This is another version. Not this one. It's players and bats. I'm gonna delete this one. And I think I'm gonna forget about this stuff that I was trying to do. Maybe I will use it in the future, where I'm gonna create 2 different nodes here. And create a tree to represent the flop, the boards, the cards, and the actions, or the bets. But I think this way here is probably enough, I think, because I already have all the information. And then I remember now, or yesterday, I wasn't remembering this, but I forgot, which is that you can just put the stuff on a JSON file. Because the thing I was thinking about is how I'm gonna save this information, but then obviously you can put on the JSON file, and JSON is the best, I think, for this. So if I have this data, and this is the thing, because then if I have the formatted data on JSON, everything becomes easier, because then I can just use the formatted data and get the information. And I'm curious to see, I want to run like data analysis on this as well to know what kind of boards I got the most often, because I know it's based on probability, so it's not going to be a linear distribution. It's going to be probably an exponential distribution based on knives and the range of the cards, but it's still very interesting to see. And also obviously the bets, what kind of bets are done most often. But this kind of stuff I'm not really sure if I'm going to show here on stream, because like there are some people watching, so I don't know. Because obviously I'm not sure if I want to expose all this stuff here. But I might, because I think it doesn't matter that much. I think that the greatest part about this is going to be the tool. And I also think that it doesn't matter to show that much. That's why I'm doing on stream, but I might be wrong, so I don't know. Because initially I was thinking about maybe I'll do a website from this, but now I'm thinking more about that it's going to be something that is useful for me to have it. And it's not worth putting the extra time to figure out how to convert everything, like, because I've never did a software production like that, where I think you need to encrypt everything, and then there's a lot of stuff that you probably need to do in order to allow for people to download and then just execute the program from an executable, and then you have to create a GUI user interface, and then it becomes like a lot of extra work that is not really relevant to what I'm doing here. And if I just do what I want to do, which is automate the process of creating scripts based on the data that I have, then it's going to be very useful for me, and it's not going to take that much time, I think. And the thing that I'm thinking about building first, which I think is going to be a lot easier and like a greater ROI based on risk, is to build either a Chrome extension or build something on the web browser, because it's a lot easier to build websites and to build like something that integrates Web3 with the browser. I think that's more in alignment with what I wanna, or what I think that things, because of the whole thing about the AI and the decentralization, like that's more the long-term vision, and I think that's a very important thing to focus on, because we need Web3 and some sort of decentralization and all of the stuff to counterbalance the effect of AI as fast as possible. Otherwise, like, it's already happening, we're gonna lose sense making, and like the risk of catastrophe increases every time, like every day that passes, and nobody does anything about it. So, and obviously I want to make money as well, but yeah, I think I can kill two birds with one stone if I focus more on Web3 for building actual things that I want to, like MVPs and things like that, where I want to sell to people. But since I'm still playing poker, it might be like a mistake to show this stuff to everyone, but I'm gonna take the risk, I think. Yeah, so here, so I'm gonna delete this file as well, just to clean up this thing. And then I'm gonna leave this one, the ChatGPT did it. I'm gonna rename to parse files or parse hands. And then, yeah, here is the part that I'm gonna run again to see what this line is, because I think that this line is the one that creates the stuff that I'm talking about here. And then I'm gonna change this line to try to change this thing here. Let me see if there's anything. Oh yeah, yeah, so this is the line. So what I'm gonna do is copy this stuff here. Also learn, obviously I knew that I should use rel library and then this, either the search or match method to get the patterns, but it would be a pain in the ass to search for them. So ChatGPT is extremely useful for this kind of stuff, because then you can just get it really fast and then you can just test it. It's like a lot better. Definitely took like a lot less time than I would to do it. So here I'm gonna get round, and then I'm gonna see, Control D this. I'm gonna see if I get just a number. The only problem with getting just a number is that it might be confusing to know, but I think it's relatively easy. I'm gonna know. That was number, I think. Let's see if this works. Yeah, there we go. I wonder if I don't put the group here. And match objects. And if I put group 1 and then 0. As I don't want it to be a tuple. but I think it is a string. So I think I'm gonna print the type here. Yeah, it's a tuple. So how do I guess? Because this is not working. So let's see here. A class tuple. Something like this. Or I could just convert to a string. Maybe that works. And it's still a tuple. So I think I'm gonna search. On group 0. Let's try that. Still a tuple. So maybe I'll read the documentation to see what are these groups. Maybe just ask ChatGPT because it's easier. Actually, I'm gonna do like this. Maybe I should ask how to return, how to use re.search to return a string. I think tuples are immutable, that's the problem. Yeah, I need to create another thing. Let's see if this works. Nice, there we go. Yeah, so now it's still giving me the same thing, but it says that it's a string. And the weird thing is that... How do I remove this stuff? So let's split. Now the problem is that I'm gonna have to split 2 times. It doesn't look good. Alright. Yeah, because that's the thing, then I have to split again, I think. This, it doesn't look good. Must be a better way to get just the number. And then I have to get the 0 here. And then still have the comma, then I would have to split again. Or maybe I can just use this. But it's still not the best, I think. Let me think if there's another way to do this. Line string using expression. Let's call it to the currents. I think I have an idea. I'm gonna get the format of this and then I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Yeah, there we go. Nice. I didn't think about this because, but I think I tried with 1, the index 1. That's why it wasn't working. When I did here. Yeah, but I think that's fine. So now I'm gonna think about how I'm going to do the sequence for the actions. And I think the actions are here. So if there are no actions, then you create the object, and if the player is not in actions, you create this current round here. And then for the current round, you append the action. So the action is this. So here is the, I think it's easy. I just have to put the number here. So do the same thing that I did there. Let me think. Player. Because the thing is that maybe current rounds. Yeah, I think that if I put the number, then it's fine. And then I just do the same thing that I did here. Actually, this thing. But I think it's better if I print this and then I'll do the same thing. Because I think I'm gonna have to do the same stuff that I did here for this. But maybe not. Yeah, I wonder why here. It's probably because the line is different when it hits this point. But the thing is, it should be the same, so it's kind of weird that it works here but it doesn't work here. Because the pattern I'm using is the same. Yeah, but whatever. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. And then here I changed the file now so I can save. So I think I'm just gonna run this and save on the other file and see how it looks on the after it's done. And then after that I'm gonna figure out, or yeah, I have to run this and then figure out how to get access. I remember that I had a similar problem in the past where it was more of a Windows problem where I needed to give permission to run scripts on Windows using an execution policy in PowerShell. And I think it's probably a similar thing here, I suspect. If it is, then it's great, because then it's gonna be easy to solve, I think. And if it isn't, then who knows how much time it's gonna take to solve that. But what I need to do to solve is to give access to, so that this script can run PioSolver. And then after that, I'm gonna spend some time studying the documentation. Maybe I can use ChatGPT for this as well, since this is very old, I think. So it's older than ChatGPT. So maybe it's probably ChatGPT knows about this. Let's ask. Hopefully I still have the access now, because I'm using the free thing. Then sometimes I can't access because it's peak hours. But to do simple commands, I think is gonna be very easy. You just search for the commands here and then just put it. Doesn't seem that hard. The hardest part is the no locking thing. It was something here, I think it was configuration. And then solver settings probably, or maybe some other, or debugging and logging. Yeah, that's the thing, I think. Enable command logs, probably that one. So maybe it's this one as well. Commands only. I think I'm gonna leave it like this first, and then I'll see. No, it's probably not working. Yeah, because it's not showing anything. So it's gonna upload stuff to the text file, but I was talking more about actually seeing. So I think I have to enable this thing. But here it should dump this information to a text file, and that's also another thing that I can do. Just use the text file, copy the text file to the project directory, and then run scripts on it to figure out, or to get the commands after I do, because looking at one by one might be difficult. I can do a sequence, kind of like it works on Playwright, where you have some option you can do where you can manually go to manually do the things, and then it writes what you're doing for you, and then you don't need to write the script. So maybe I can do it like that. But I think, like I said yesterday, I'm gonna break this down into different parts. I'm gonna focus first on the easy part, which is just to build the simulations, because that's another thing you can do in 2 different parts. I can automate the process of building all the simulations based on my data, and then once I have all the simulations, then I can create another script that reads the simulations of a file, and from the simulations then I create other stuff that creates the node locking. It's gonna file. Yeah, there we go. So that's the stuff that I was talking about. So now everything that I do shows up here, so I can copy the commands here. And I think it's just as easy as using the class that they gave with the example, and then you just run the commands in the order that you wanna build the thing. So it's just about figuring out what commands to do through here, and then obviously making them dependent on the data. So the thing that I have to do is get the structure of this data, what's gonna be, and then I create an algorithm that gets the information for each hand, for each simulation. But the thing that I'm gonna do first, I think, is I'm gonna figure out how to get the board cards here, which is not hard. I think you just loop over this game object, load the file from JSON, loop through this game, which is gonna be each hand, then get the board cards, and then from that I'm gonna have the other thing is that I don't know if, I'm probably gonna have to change this data structure so that, or this object here, so that it has the turn and the river, because the board cards I don't think is gonna show. Maybe I can do it based on the index because of the way that is passing or adding that. It's just summing them, so it's gonna be in order, but I think that might be risky because you might switch for whatever reason. But I think it's gonna be the 0 to 2 index is gonna be the flop, and then third index is gonna be the turn, and fourth the river. So maybe I can do it like that. But that's not really necessary to build the simulations as well, because you just need the flop to build the simulations. But what I want to do is get the board cards, and then I want to create a dictionary or a counter that keeps the track of the frequency of the boards. And then I also want to think about the batch sizes, because I want to reduce the amount of simulations that I'm going to do. Otherwise I think it's going to be too many simulations. If, let's say, for example, someone bats 51 and another time they bet 50, then I would have to create 2 different simulations, one with 51 and one with 50, let's say. But obviously, instead of doing that, I can create only one simulation with 50 and 51, or I can put a range of delta, let's say, of the amount of variation that I want. So if bet sizes vary for more than 10%, for example, then you add the different bet size, to the delta, and then you use all these bets to create the simulation here. So I think that's what I want to figure out first, but it might be better to figure out to just build one. I think that's also a good idea, to build one sim, or try to figure out here how to do it. So here, because the thing is, it doesn't show, so I'm probably gonna have to read the documentation. I think it shows if I go here and then I click on stuff after, yeah, or if I click on stuff on the browser, then it shows. The tricky thing is the ranges, because like I said, I think it's just a dictionary based on the stuff that I've seen. If we click here, it has this stuff here. I think that's the way you do it. But then the tricky thing is that because it doesn't have any information about knives here, it's just the cards. But then if I put here and then I change the frequency of, let's say, 50%, change the, or 80%, then it's gonna change here. Let's do this one. And it shows now the suits for the different ones. So I guess I need to create a condition that says that, or maybe it's better if I just do it this way. I think it's easier, and then I put 0 frequency for the ones that don't have it, because I'm gonna I'm getting the exact cards from the data, so it doesn't make sense to put only like it is here. I think I'll be right back. Oh, weird. Oh, here. Let's see. And the thing is, doesn't show anything for building the simulation. I think I'm gonna build a simple one and then I'll check it out. But what I'm probably gonna do for the rest, I think, is just use this thing here. So let's see. Yeah, okay, so it has the number now and it is here. I wonder if that's confusing though. There's two different numbers. Maybe I should put round here, round 1. I think this is fine. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. So now I just have to understand the format of this. I have to catch one block of full hand. I think it starts here, but let's see if I can start. I'm gonna get it from the file. I think it's easier. Oh, but I can't. Oh no, I can't copy from. Mars player. Oh, this is still data. This is still. Oh, because I didn't change the round 0. So I'm gonna do that here. We'll run this again. Yeah, but it's an array that has the players is an array that has all the players with the name, seed, pocket cards, and actions. And then the actions contain the rounds. And the rounds are list. And this is where it gets kind of complicated because there's a bunch of things nested. I remember like something that I did in the past, I don't remember exactly what. But it was kind of like this, where you have these nested structures with a list and then a dictionary and then a list. And this is very hard to deal with, I think, from what I remember. If you have nested dictionaries only or nested lists only, it's a lot easier because there are a lot more methods you can use. And for this kind of stuff, it can be very annoying to unpack the kind of stuff you want. So imagine that it might be hard to figure out. Yeah, but I think here is the point that it finishes, because the sound round number 3. So this is the kind of stuff that I wanna see. So I understand what I have to do. Still players. Maybe I can delete this one. Leave it. But I might delete because then it's gonna be easier to see the whole thing. So here is, I think I missed one. Oh, it's because, well, let me think. Maybe this is wrong. No, because here I have bar cards as well. So I didn't catch everything. It ends here. That's the thing. So I didn't catch everything. I think it's better if I close this. So each one, I think this is correct because of the way that it is here. So it looks like it is the other way around as well. So the flop is the one in the right here, I think. I'll close this. I'm not sure if I got everything because I'm still getting these errors there. So here. And now he's gone, so I think it's correct. Yeah, so I'm gonna delete some of these players because it's redundant. I just wanna get I wanna understand how this structure looks like. That is easier to get the data after. So the other thing that I'm not getting here is the chip. So I might change that as well. Which is the stack of each player in the beginning, because then it's going to be easier to build simulation. Obviously, it doesn't matter that much because usually the way that you do it is always putting 100 big blinds. And obviously, the game does change with the stack size because it changes the pot equity and changes everything pretty much, but it's not that relevant, I think. So obviously I can just calculate from the bet sizes and do like the rule of 3 to get the equivalence here. But I think that it would be also better if I get the information, because then is exactly what happened in the hand. Let me see. Yeah, the problem is that I would probably have to, or maybe when I do this player seat here, I think that's it's just adding another line here. I think it shouldn't be hard. Yeah, chips. I'm gonna do that, I think. And then I put here. And the thing is that the seat doesn't give me anything about position as well. So I'm probably gonna have to change that as well. Because when I was doing this, I was just thinking about getting the information for the bet sequences, and the cards. But I think that's like, that's the thing. Because I might not have enough data to reconstruct the ranges for all. If I do it like this, then it's just gonna be one range for all the positions, because it's not gonna be the seat that is not equivalent to the position, so that I can't build the ranges even though I'm getting the cards. So that's a very big, very challenging thing because of the order of things here. How do I get the position? It has to be based on the actions, I think. But I think I can do this later anyway, once I have the data, because then I can just think about the sequence of actions and how to translate that into the positions based on the way that it is here. Yeah, so I think round 0 is pre-flop. Round 0 is pre-flop, then 1 flop, 2 turn, and then 3 river. So based on that, the action number 1 should be... Yeah, but then it's gonna be arbitrary because of the whole thing about sometimes the action is different, so the sequence is different. I'm probably gonna have to change something here. Let me put the chips here first. Yeah, now it's correct here. Also, let me think about the name of the other file that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna run this one since I have the other one saved on the file. Just show the mistake that I'm getting. This is access deny. And it's because of the subprocess library. And I think I tried, but I'm gonna try again to just open a PyCharm again using the administrator privileges, but it doesn't work. So I think I'm gonna have to, because I think this executes on PowerShell by default. I'm gonna have to look it up how to. Alright, I think I can put this on ChatGPT probably as well. That doesn't work. It's a protocol developed by a team at PyOSolver, so it does know about the UPI. It's insane how smart ChatGPT is. It's obviously, it's like the intelligence of everyone combined. It's very crazy. But at the same time, it's pretty dumb, so it's kind of a weird paradox. I think this might have something to do with the AGI thing as well, because I think it's a gradient, a distribution. So the more specialized you become, the more you lose on the generalization part. And human beings are good at generalizing because we are a concept-making machine. So I think the whole evolution of machine learning is this process of, and the whole evolution of computing itself is the whole process of creating higher level concepts from the whole memory thing. And then it's just gonna become more and more efficient until it gets to the singularity. And at that point, no one knows what's gonna happen. But until then, I think we can increase the probabilities that it's gonna be like a good singularity, or whatever that means. True requests and responses. I think this just broke. I think I'm gonna search for changing the execution policy. Yeah, it runs on PowerShell, so I think that's the problem. Let's see if this works. And now I don't know if I should run this on stream. I'm probably gonna solve this off stream. Because the time is up anyway. And this also looks like it crashed. Probably because I have the thing open. But I think it's gonna work. So there was something else that I was thinking about here. Is the chips and what else did I need to put here? Oh, the position of the players. So I'm gonna figure out the position of the players. And so I need to remember how I did it last time. The seat doesn't mean anything. So for each round. So the small blind and the big blind are the easiest, it's just 1 and 2. Oh, so yeah, I remember what I did. So I can get the amount of players that I have. That's what I'm gonna do. You get the amount of players that I have because I'm starting through this thing here, current players. So you get the length of current players, and then I decrease by... I decrease whatever amount from that to get the number of actions, because then the first and the second... First is gonna be small blind, and the second is gonna be big blind. But the thing is that is tricky is that, like, the first one to talk is small blind on the one is round number 1. Yeah, so I'm gonna, but it's not like the hard, I think, because then what I can do is get the round number from this data structure here, because the actions are separated by round numbers. So it's gonna be hard, I think, but what I'm gonna do probably is just copy this data, or copy from here and to ChatGPT, and then ask ChatGPT to create something, and then I just tweak it if it's not correct. But the logic is gonna be to use the numbers here of the actions, which of the rounds, to decrease from the length of total players. And that way I can get the position of each one, depending on the amount of actions. So I'm gonna do that, and then once I have the position of each one, obviously it would be better to do this like on this script, I think. So I might do that as instead. So I already get the position instead of the seat here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna remove this seat because it doesn't make sense. Like, there's nothing I gain from that. So I think I can do it through here. I can just do a condition here, and then I can get based on the number of rounds and the length of the players of each hand, which I can get through current rand players. So do I'll figure this out later, I think, but you get the point. So I got the length of this, then make a condition here, and then I figure out each position, and then I put the position, I add the position to the players here. So when it comes to this part, I already have the position of each one. And then what I'm probably gonna do is figure out how to get, I wanna extract the board cards to know the frequency. And then I think tomorrow, I think I'm not gonna work on this today. I think we're just gonna work tomorrow. The stuff that I'm talking about here now, I'm gonna do tomorrow off stream. But I might do it tomorrow on stream, but I might do it off stream. And then once I have this data structure, then I'm gonna figure out through this window here. I'm just gonna do the commands that I want, and then I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna play around with this script after I figure this out as well. So I think this thing I'm probably gonna figure out now after I stop streaming. But once I figure this out, then I can play around with this script and test the different commands. And then It's gonna be a matter of using the data to create a script that combines the commands to build the, which I think is gonna be easier than I thought it would be. And the first part is gonna be to build the simulations here, and then I'm gonna automate some of them, and then once I have those simulations, then I can try to build other scripts from those simulations to do the whole no locking strategy thing. Let's see how it works, and then I'm just gonna keep improving on that. So probably gonna come back tomorrow to keep doing this. Yeah, so